So have you heard all this buzz about ChatGPT, about AI, about all the incredible things it can do, but yet you're kind of unfamiliar with it? Maybe you don't even know how to get started. Maybe you don't know how you could use it in your daily life. Well, that's what I'm going to cover in this video. But first and foremost, what is ChatGPT? Well, it is a platform that you can use on your computer, on the web, on all of your devices that gives you access to artificial intelligence. Now, one of the ways, I'm going to go through a number of different ways that you can use this, but you can think of it as your AI-powered assistant. So one of the ways, first and foremost, that people get acquainted with ChatGPT is they start doing searches like Google. But instead of giving you a bunch of different websites, ChatGPT will actually, you can talk to it and ask it full questions, and then it'll give you full answers in return, and can even give you sources where that came from. Now, it's not perfect, and it even says that in the app. However, I'll tell you, you're about to be amazed if you haven't seen this for yourself, as I'm going to demonstrate to you how this works. So first and foremost, how do you get started? Well, if I navigate to chatgpt.com, and I can just simply, to start, we don't even need to sign up, log in, or start for free. I'm just going to ask a question. And we're going to ask a simple question. Why is the sky blue? And let's see what it does. And the other thing you have to see is how fast this happens. So incredible. So we're seeing that the sky appears blue because of the phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. It explains it. And so it goes down and it says that sunlight looks white. So it gives us all these details, right? But you notice at the end, it says, let me know if you want a deeper or more scientific explanation. So I'm going to say, yes, that would be great. Okay. So if I tap that, or if I click enter, then now it's going to give me, and it's going to break it down even further, right? So again, if this is one of your first times seeing this, this is quite incredible, the speed that this is happening and all of the information. I mean, we even now have this mathematical equation. We have like these shorter wavelengths, all of these things like, wow, this is really in depth. And then it gives you a summary at the end. Beautiful, right? Now, this is something I'm going to show you really quick, give you a preview. Now, what this channel is all about is helping people like yourself and also myself as I learn to use AI, learn to prompt, which is, I'll define that here in a second. And by the way, I should actually define that now. Well, if you hear the word prompt, that may be like, well, what is this terminology? What does this mean? A prompt basically is what you're writing. So if what I go back to what we originally said is, why is the sky blue? That can be considered a prompt, but even more appropriately is if you were going to be more intentional, give it more detail. So for example, you're going to say that my daughter has a school project about the sky, about why the sky is blue, and I want to help her. Okay, so you're telling this assistant, I want to help her. Can you please help me find some research I can share? Okay, so that's basically it's a prompting it, and you could tell it that it needs to be 1 page long. Again, I'm just kind of rolling here, right? So I'm just giving you a little more detail, and that's what's giving it some conditions, and that's what's considered, if you start building these out, that's what's considered prompting. So if I click that, now we look at it. Now look at this. It's going to go out and it goes on the web, and it researches it. Now come back, look at this. Look at what we have here. The most incredible little breakdown, and we even now have some sources. Now that is what's really cool, because let's say if this is a real story, if you were a parent and you're trying to help your daughter with homework, you can just quickly boom, 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 and here you have it. And now you can be the super parent, the teacher, and help your child. And not only that, but then you can go back and give them actual resources where the information is found. So that's just a quick example. I'm going to be covering a lot more of these examples and doing a lot more of this research on this channel and breaking this down. But now I want to move to another possibility that you can do. And one example, so let me go back to ChatGPT. And another example is that people find is like helping them write things, write emails, write messages. So I know sometimes maybe you're stuck and you're thinking, man, I need to write my friend a letter, but I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Well, one thing I want to help you understand, ChatGPT, it's called a language model. So without going into super in-depth, geeky, techie language, basically it means it's been fed and it's an absolute professional to the professional level of language and understands language, and it can help you with that. So let me give you, I'm going to give it a prompt. The prompt I'm going to ask is say, I need to write a letter to my friend Beatrice. That's an old name. I don't know where that came from, but we're just going to go with it. So I'm going to, my friend Beatrice, we haven't spoken in a while, and I'm not too sure of what to say. I know that her husband wasn't feeling well the last time we spoke, and I really want the letter to show that I care. Can you help me write this letter, please? Okay, all right. What's it gonna do? Let's see. Oh, so sorry about that little interruption. Now I've went and signed up, and simply what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk through, and when it says log in, again, this is free. There's a free version. You don't have to pay anything. You put your email in, or if you have a Google email address, you could sign up through Google, through Apple. It's pretty seamless. Just follow what it tells you. And then you're gonna end up back at this screen where I'm at right now. Now, one thing that I was gonna cover really quickly that you see pop up is I was writing out all of this stuff, right, about these prompts. And that's what discourages a lot of people who perhaps aren't, savvy with computers, aren't into AI, is they may not be able to type very fast. Well, guess what? That is one of my absolute favorite things about ChatGPT, is that it can understand you so well. In fact, it understands you better than Siri or than anything else. And I have a whole video that I'm doing about that, so don't get me started. But for now, let me just show you this. So let me do this again, actually, since we got interrupted. I'm back here now. I'm back here on the screen. Now I'm going to click on this little microphone, and I'm going to dictate what I was saying, something similar, and then go from there and show you that you don't even really have to type anything, and it can be so much faster. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. All right. I need to write a letter to my friend Beatrice. We haven't spoken in a while, and so I'm a little hesitant, but I know she's a really good friend of mine, and I really want to check on her. I know the last time that we talked, her husband wasn't feeling well, and so I want to check on him, and I really want the letter to show that I care. So please help me write this letter, or at least give me ideas how to get started. Okay, I've clicked it. Now what's going to happen? Look at this. This is one of the most incredible things. Finally, someone who listens to you. Every word. I'll tell you, in my experience of using AI, ChatGPT for, a couple of years now, it's about 90% or even more than that accuracy when it comes down to hearing you and writing it down correctly. And now that is absolutely insane, because if you go try to do that in Siri, forget it. Okay, so here's what it did. It did everything. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to click, boom, okay? And what's it going to do? Here you go. What does it start off by saying? That's really thoughtful of you. It sounds like you want your letter to be warm, genuine, and caring without coming across stiff or overly formal. Here's a way you might structure it along with some sample wording to get you started, right? So then it starts with a warm opening, express care, generally check in. And then here it gives you an example. Dear Beatrice, it's been a little while since we last talked. If you've been on my mind or you want to reach out, how have you been doing? Right? Boom. Here is your letter. So what you could do is you can go down to the very bottom. First of all, tell it, was that good? Was that not good? You say, great, that was a nice job. I really appreciate that. And then all you have to do is copy this, the very bottom. And then if you were going to go into like Pages or another application, you can paste that right into that application by Command V on a Mac or File Paste, Edit Paste, and that will have your letter right there. You just change where it says your name and other things, and you'll have your letter. And I think that's one of the most important things that I want to emphasize to you is one thing we are trained so much up until this AI era is that we do everything in our brain, right? We do everything ourselves. Now it's trying to think about and delegate because, whether it's just we have so much going on in our life or we're getting older and the memory isn't there anymore as it used to be, or, we're just dealing with illness, whatever it is, it's the fact that now we can delegate. We have this friendly assistant that will help us do all these things. I know for me, as an example, I've done this so many times in writing messages, text messages, for an example. So if I put down here and I said, this is great, can I actually make this a text message, right? Instead. So I just do that, boom, okay? And then it's going to reformat that into a text message. And so I'm just going to copy this and then paste it and send it. And so here's the thing. Instead of here waiting and, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I've just copied, pasted, boom. The message is done. The task is done. So that is what's so incredible about AI is it helps get things done. Moving on to another really cool thing is I'm going to go back and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click New Chat. Now, speaking of sometimes where our brain, like it's in paralysis mode, it's like, okay, what are we going to cook for dinner tonight, right? What are we going to have for food? Well, guess what? You don't have to have that anymore because you have this incredible assistant who can give you the recipes to anything and even tell you how to cook it, right? Amazing. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to use my voice again so I don't have to type a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to say, hello, I really need your help as my assistant in the kitchen. I need to figure out what to cook tonight for my friends. They're coming over. I want it to be a special meal. I'm thinking something Italian. I'm not quite a chef. I know a little bit about cooking, so maybe you could help me have a simple recipe and tell me the ingredients and also maybe how I can cook it so that it will be really, really good for my friends. Okay? Okay, here we go. Boom. So I even got my boom in there. All right, so it gives me this main dish, creamy Tuscan chicken pasta. Boom, boom, boom. There's your recipe, how to cook it, sear it. Okay, dessert affogato. Incredible, right? Now, here's where I want to teach you something about, let's say it spit out a recipe and you're like, oh, I just had chicken last night. In fact, I just had creamy Tuscan chicken pasta last night. So what would you do in this case? Well, this is where you can actually, again, you can have a conversation back and forth with AI. It'll help you. Watch what I do. At the very bottom, I'm going to say, oh, you know what? This is great, but I just had Tuscan chicken last night. Can you give me another option and also tell me how to cook it? Maybe something with seafood. So okay, so I'll take that out. I'll go here. Boom. There it is. I'm saying boom a lot. Okay. What I'm showing you is that, again, you don't have that paralysis. Oh, thinking about, about this and what about that. No, you just say, oh, I need a recipe. And then notice what I did. So this is something, again, as you get along in your journey and get better and better at using AI and ChatGPT, I said something with seafood. So this is something where I'm giving more detail. And this is, if there's anything you can pull out of this first video that you're watching, this introduction to ChatGPT, I want to tell you that ChatGPT AI is really, it is what you put into it, is what you get out of it. What you put into it, it actually is called an input terminology, a prompt. How good that prompt is how good your output or what you get back will be. And so as an example, I'm going to show you a little bit deeper on this same principle. And I'm going to go through this whole, we're going to go into this later in a video, but for right now, I'm going to say, well, I don't really like this limoncello. So now we're going to get more detailed and we're going to get it exactly what we want. Because I'm going to tell it now what we have in the fridge. So here we go. I'm going to say, this is great, but I just realized I don't have time to go to the store. Here's what I have in my fridge. I have some ground beef and ground pork. I'm thinking maybe I can make meatballs. I have some pasta. I do have some tomatoes. Maybe I can make a simple sauce. Maybe you can teach me or give me a recipe to make a simple sauce. And my friends do not like limoncello. So for dessert, I'm thinking something with chocolate or maybe a tiramisu. I don't know how to make tiramisu. Maybe you can give me, I probably have the ingredients, so just tell me how to do that. Okay. So just giving you an example of now it's giving me spaghetti and meatballs because you're telling it what you have in the fridge. It's telling you how to cook it. And it's giving you easy, no-bake tiramisu because I told it that. So just remember, you can be very basic and you can say, give me an Italian recipe. And it did that. And it will do that. It will always answer you. But it may not be what you want. And that's where you have to think about a little bit more detail. And so if you stop and say, well, this is what I have in my fridge, or this is what I like, right? Give it a little bit more detail. It'll give you back the recipe that you want. Okay, moving on. So what about we look at another thing? And I'm looking over a list of things that people most commonly requested of me to help them with, or they wanted to learn about AI. And one of them also is summaries. And so summaries is really amazing, right? So let's say if we go on to this, to Google, and you want to search about we're coming up with something here about the science behind a rainbow. Now, notice that we have like this article from National Geographic. So here it is, National Geographic, okay? And here's the article. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. I copy the link of where the article is. I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. Please summarize this article. And all I do is I do this. I would just paste the article address in there, and then boom, here you go. It just went to that website. If you can imagine this, it went to the website, it read the entire website like that. And look at this. It's literally, we know it is because it's what the article is about. I didn't tell it was about a rainbow. It found it, it read it, and now it's telling you a summary of what is a rainbow, how rainbows form, colors, variations. So what other things can you do? Well, you can do this on news articles. You can do this on anything that you want. You can take large chunks of text on the web and you can have it summarized. You can even copy and paste things and put it in. Maybe it's a document. Somebody wrote you a long email. Beatrice wrote back, and it's a really, really long email. And you're like, man, I don't have time for this, but I want to know what it's about. So you copy it and you paste it in here, and then you say, please summarize. And that's what it would do. It would, boom, there you are. So really, really incredible. And again, how fast it is and how accurate it is. And I love how it puts this in subheadings. What is a rainbow? How rainbows form, colors, right? Fast fact, amazing, awesome. Here's where we're really going to start kind of blow the mind here. I mentioned earlier that ChatGPT is what's called an LLM, which is a language model. And because it's a language model, it is one of the absolute best translators. So as an example, I'm going to continue to be in this window here about the rainbow. And I'm going to say, please translate this into Spanish. And here is how fast it does that. Now, something I'll tell you, we've tested it. And my wife is bilingual. Her first language is actually Spanish. And so I've went over this with her a lot. And I've asked her these translations. And what she's commented on, her observation and multiple different readings of different types of things, is that ChatGPT uses very, I guess, good or eloquent Spanish, uses really good words. It's not broken up. It's actually like basically perfect Spanish. And this is where, again, I could tell it how I wanted to write it. So let's say now here I am back in this window, and it's like, wow, I have this letter and I can copy and I can paste this. But, as an example, and we just to expand your mind, right? Let's say, well, actually, I need it in Russian, right? And then, oh, there it is, in Russian. So all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait a minute. This expands horizons here. If you have something that you come across you can't read, you can't understand, if you could copy it and paste it in here, ChatGPT can translate it. You would just have the text, right? So as an example, let's use this example. I'm going to copy this right here. Let's say you'd copied some text, right, from somewhere else on web or wherever else. I'm going to say first, I'm going to say, please translate to English, right? I do shift return so I can go down a couple lines, and then I paste. Go edit paste. Now see it pasted all this in there? And then I'm going to click enter, and then boom. And it goes back to English. So amazing, amazing tool, translation. And that's where your mind, again, we often think we're like on your phone. You put this on your phone and you're trying to talk to somebody. You're like, man, I don't know what to say. You just go into ChatGPT, open a window, new chat. I'm trying to tell this person in Italian that I'm looking for the zucchini. And I don't know where that came from, but he's looking for the zucchini. And so it will tell you just like that. That's what's really amazing about ChatGPT as a translator. As we're looking through the other things, I want to go too far into this, but I'm just giving you the possibilities here. One thing I've talked about a lot that I want to go back to is transcription. So I showed you how I'm clicking on the mic and I'm talking into it. Something that I think a lot of people don't think about is how powerful this really is if we're just out and about. So on my phone, I use this constantly, where maybe I'm not looking for something to do research or whatever. All I want to do is I want to talk into this and have it written down so I can see it later. So as an example, I'm going to show you a to-do list. So, you're out and about, you're driving, you're on transit, whatever, and you're like, oh, I got these things I need to do. This happens to me like almost every morning. So I'm going to go to new chat and I'm going to say, I just remembered that a few things I need to put on my to-do list. So please help me write this to-do list. Number one, I need to take out the garbage when I get home. Number two, I need to text my wife about dinner with friends this Saturday. Number three, I need to see if those friends have any allergies to foods. I need to pick up the dry cleaning actually it's Friday. I'll put that in there. Now what's going to do, I'll take out the well I forgot. And on Friday, boom. So this is where you can edit things, right? It's great. And then I go here, okay? And look at that. Here's the to-do list. Awesome. So then it asks, do you see this right here? It says, here's the to-do list. Take out the garbage when you get home, text your wife about dinner, ask friends, pick up dry cleaning on Friday. Again, perfect recognition of your voice and writes it down just the way you want it to. Awesome. Just like having a phone call with an assistant. Hey, write this down for me. And it just did. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Transcription. Maybe it's just making a note, right? But here's what I'll draw your attention to as well. One thing that ChatGPT is always doing at the end is it's usually asking you a question. Do you want to go further with this? So would you like me to make it more structured, like day or priority, or simple like this? I'll say, okay, actually, yes, by the day would be great. Can you help me with this? And then I click yes, and he says, now it breaks it down. Today, Friday, Saturday, boom, right? So this is when maybe you have a whole bunch of stuff on your head, and you're just like, oh, I need to get this off. And you can just talk to your assistant. On that note, here's what's so incredible about ChatGPT being a machine is that it's helpful. It's a helpful assistant, but it doesn't get tired of listening to you. Maybe like a spouse or a partner or family member, friend. You can just talk and it can actually feed back. So that's the last thing I'm going to leave you with here is, and we'll do maybe even revisit this as a part 2, but I don't overwhelm you. I just want to give you examples and encourage you to start using ChatGPT for yourself. And maybe just start with the very basics. But here's one other thing that a lot of people is just talking to and asking questions. So one of the things that's so incredible, and I'm just jogging your mind and helping you expand, because that's probably one of the biggest barriers, if there is any, when you're getting started with AI. You realize that it's your own, we're trained to, again, do everything ourselves. So now all of a sudden there's like, whoa, there's a big world out here with AI. I can delegate all of these tasks, can delegate all of this brain bandwidth to this AI assistant. And it's like, yes. So you just have to remind yourself of that. So let's say, for an example, something that's causing you stress. And you're trying to figure out what's the best way to say this, the best way to deal with this. So I'm going to give you this. This is kind of we're getting at the cream of the crop here on this video. Something that people run into a lot. So let's say, for example, you have something that's really stressing in your life. And it's a big issue that's taking a lot of energy away. And it's like, man, wouldn't it be amazing I can just get a solution to this? But I've been working on it, I've been thinking about it, I'm losing sleep over it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create this scenario right off the top of my head. But let's go ahead and start the dictation, okay? Okay, as my helpful assistant, I really need your help in figuring out this problem I have at work. So my boss has asked me to start working 10 hours more per week, and yet wants to pay me the same amount. I see the value. I really want to be a good employee, but I know that 10 extra hours would cause problems at home. But I'm afraid if I don't do this for my boss, that he might try to fire me or at least cause a bunch of tension. What do you think? Do you think of how could I approach him? What could I say? Are there maybe other scenarios that I could present to him that would maybe accommodate, but would be not working that many hours? Please help. Okay, so I just put that in. So then it gives you what to say. Okay, so then it says, clarify your rights and boundaries. Homework balance. Are you open to smaller increase? Would you prefer flexibility? How to approach the conversation. When you talk to him, stay calm, professional, and collaborative, right? It's like, oh, yes, very much. Show you're a team player. Okay? State your concern. It even gives you what to say. Possible scenarios you could propose. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you're really stressed out, your brain doesn't work right, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, and this literally just gives you your blueprint. Now again, maybe it doesn't give you everything right off the bat, but then look what it says at the very bottom. Would you like me to help you draft a sample script of what you could say word for word in your meeting so you feel confident, prepared? Yes. Who wouldn't? Yes. Exclamation point. And then, boom, here we go. Here's your sample script. You. And then it tells you when to pause, what to say, and then pivot to solutions, right? So it's even helping you with a little bit of psychology of how to approach. I mean, this is so big. This is so incredible. And by the way, how much have I paid this assistant? How much have I paid for this assistant, right? This level of behavioral science and, language and pivoting, I mean, all of these things are being done by this incredible assistant that I'm not paying for, that understands language deeper than most humans. Wow, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome stuff. And guess what the biggest thing is? You have this huge problem that's been like on your shoulders, and you've just like, boom, you've got like all these solutions. Maybe you've just got this huge relief now because you have a blueprint, you have a plan, and you've delegated that task. So that's probably what I see too in my life, trying to do different businesses and having different interests and constantly learning. It's just, if I have a task or something that's stressing me, I've trained myself now to try to go, and what does ChatGPT have to say? How can it help me? And the other thing that you have to get used to too is that, again, as I mentioned, it doesn't get tired of listening to you. So you can have these conversations, and you can have conversations with it for an hour, writing back and forth and talking about different things and learning. We go back to how the sky is blue. Let's say we just started chatting more about that, and you could tell it a story. I remember when I was a boy and my dad told me this, but he didn't explain it like you did. And then it's going to come back and tell you, oh, this and that. And you just can have this conversation. And through the conversation, just as if you're with a super, super intelligent person, you're going to learn something, and maybe you're going to get something off your shoulder, and you're going to learn something by just having this interaction and really de-stressing. So as a review, let's go back through what we learned in this video. And so again, because we've covered a lot, but I want to just open your mind to what's possible. And let's go back. So first of all, we showed how to sign up. It's very simple, right? I'm on chatgpt.com. You go in, you get an account, you sign up. After that, you're going to end up in this page. It's ready when you are. You can type in, you can use the dictate, right? So that you're not having to type in a bunch of stuff. You can just talk to it like you would talking to me or talk to a human. And you can, first and foremost, you can just search. You can ask it questions, full-on questions about anything. And that's the thing that, because it's tied into the internet, it's been fed more information than you and I could ever comprehend. And so it's learned all of this information, knows it, even deep, deep, complex stuff that we never even would think about. But we can put it to the test. I have. Pretty remarkable what it knows. So you can search for things. You can have it ask it about maybe news events. It can go online and find those for you. And then it can report back, and you can interact with that information. The other thing we looked at is like getting tasks that are maybe like frustrating to you, or writing. A lot of times we get writer's block. So we looked at writing a message to your friend or to a text message. And I'll tell you that sometimes, like on the go, just to go a little further on this, I know I need to send a message, and I know that there's just a line. It's like, I need to send my friend a message about connecting at the gym this weekend. And so what I don't know in that moment, because my brain is going so fast about other things, maybe I'm in transit, is I don't know all the details of the message. But what I know is if I get that out, it will give it back to me and help jog my mind and maybe even ask me questions on, okay, well, what do you want to say? What's this about? And then it's like you're having this conversation with an assistant, and at the end of that, you get your message. But I've delegated that task out to save bandwidth and stress. And so again, just by talking back and forth. We also looked at when we're writing things, if we don't understand things, both in language and in writing, you can have translator. So many of us wish we spoke 7 languages. And guess what? Now we kind of can. You know, if whether we're staying there, maybe it's right, at least written, we can show the person in real time. But even just be able to write. So again, some of my family members speak mostly only Spanish, very little English. With this, before it was tough, but now I can write full letters. Really, you don't have to hold back words. I could write in English and deeper meaning, and ChatGPT will translate all of that to very eloquent Spanish and send that to them. It's amazing. We also looked at the last part of being able to do to-do lists and get things off of your head and handle other tasks. So we've been through a lot of different things. My encouragement is, again, to start with one. Just kind of get used to it and just have fun. Get in here, start a new chat about something, and just start typing or talking to it back and forth and open your mind to what's possible. And you'll see very quickly that ChatGPT, with the use of AI, is so incredibly useful and can really help you in any issue, any problem, or learning. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. So anyway, hopefully my goal was to share this with you, to make it easily digestible, and to see that it really can be just easy and straightforward. I encourage you, if you missed some things, you want to go back, watch some parts of the video, rewatch them. And if you have any questions, here's a big thing I want to highlight. Please put them in the comments below on this video. I'm here to help. I'm doing this channel because I want to help those. I myself am learning AI. I've been learning for a while, but I want to learn and I want to share what I'm learning, but I also want to learn from others in that process. So as I learn things, I'll share them with you. And again, just because it's really has changed my life and how I operate, and I want to share that knowledge, and hopefully it'll have the same effect. Okay, if you want to see the next videos, if you're not familiar with YouTube as much, or you're on YouTube a lot, but probably know you can subscribe to my channel, and therefore it'll come up on your feed. And I'll be covering, again, more in depth and taking further how to get more and more out of AI and do more and more amazing things. So if you do that, hopefully you will, and I'll see you in the next video.